One way or another, you're getting duped in this story. The news, as many of you may have heard, AstraZeneca to withdraw its COVID-19 vaccine globally as demand dips and rare side effects are revealed. Vaxzevria, I think it's called, was one of a number of shots released into the market by pharmaceutical companies aimed at preventing people from catching COVID-19. Now, I say one way or another, you're being duped. The reason is the official story as to why this vaccine was withdrawn was due to market reasons, which Fox News actually puts both in the headline, and I respect. Demand was on the decline. There are new products that are on the market prescribed by doctors for treating and dealing with and preventing COVID-19. AstraZeneca's argument was, with all of these other options, we don't need to worry about this vaccine anymore. However, that may also be a play. In that, recently there was a lawsuit where AstraZeneca finally admitted that, yes, there is a rare side effect that causes blood clots with their vaccine. Now, AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine was not released in the United States, but it was in Europe and I believe in other countries. The question then becomes, what do you believe? Well, as always, I often say, I ain't no doctor and I can't tell you what you should do with your health other than like typically diet and exercise are really good for you and make sure you're getting your vitamin D. If I'm not out in the sun, I take a vitamin D supplement periodically, but not too much. Not too much. So right now, many people and even mainstream news organizations are reporting this, but omitting the stated reason from AstraZeneca. They're just coming out right and saying AstraZeneca to withdraw COVID-19 vaccine after admitting to rare side effect. And it's like, that is true. But they've stated it's because of market reasons. Believe what you want to believe. Of course, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to come out and say, no way, I don't buy it. But get this, the application for the withdrawal of the public authorization on the AstraZeneca vaccine was put in March. It only goes into effect now, meaning AstraZeneca made the move to withdraw from the market a while ago. Well, let's read from Fox Business. The pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca said on Tuesday it is withdrawing its COVID-19 vaccine worldwide, citing low demand and a surplus of available updated vaccines since the pandemic. The vaccine, called Vaxzevria, was one of a number of shots released onto the market by pharmaceutical companies aimed at preventing people from catching COVID-19. The company said it would proceed to withdraw Vaxzevria's marketing authorizations within Europe. The vaccine was never approved in the U.S. by the FDA, and I want to make sure that we get into full context of that. AstraZeneca actually withdrew its application for the U.S. and stopped pursuing approval. It's not that the FDA said you can't do it. It's that for whatever reason, AstraZeneca said, we no longer want this in the United States. I think if the issue really was based on the side effect, potential lawsuits or otherwise, they absolutely would have pursued U.S. authorization because you can't sue the pharmaceutical companies for any vaccine side effects in the United States. So I think there is a strong possibility that they simply did a cost benefit analysis and concluded it costs too much to make. We're not getting the government mandate contracts anymore. We're outcompeted by these other pharmaceutical giants, and we've got negative press over the blood clotting side effect, which they say is rare, but is in the press. In which case, they simply said, who cares? I can put it really, really simply. A lot of people are going to try and go the conspiracy theory route. And I don't mean that in a derogative sense. I mean like the literal idea of a conspiracy behind the scenes where they're like, a rare side effect is hurting people. Quick, pull it off the market. No, I think it's more that when the vaccines were being produced, the government's guaranteed cash. And now they're not. So a lot of these companies are just like, it's a product that people don't want. We're not going to keep making it. That really does seem like the simple thing. A lot of these companies know that if you've got a debilitating disease that has a drug dependency, they can crank those prices up and you're forced to take the drug. Otherwise, you'll die, right? I'm talking about like you've got some genetic disorder and you need a certain pill every week or whatever. They know they can charge $1,000. Like insulin, for instance, they can charge a lot for that because you need it to live. They got you by the balls, huh? Increase the cost of that for you. And what are you going to do? You got to buy it. With this, Yet nobody's taking COVID vaccines right now, and there's no guaranteed market for it. People aren't really thinking about it. So when they say it's like there's other things in the market, that seems to make the most sense as to why this is being withdrawn. That combined with negative press from side effects, they're probably like, what's the point? Why bother making it anymore? So, bye-bye. They go on to say, quote, as multiple variant COVID-19 vaccines have since been developed, there's a surplus of available updated vaccines, the company said, adding that this has led to a decline in demand for Vaxzevria, which is no longer being manufactured or supplied. AstraZeneca said that more than 3 billion doses were supplied globally and that over 6.5 million lives were saved in the first year of use alone. Our efforts have been recognized by governments around the world and are widely regarded as being a critical component of ending the global pandemic. I think that's BS. I think these are major corporations that got free government contracts, and I think they're scumbags. We will now work with regulators and our partners to align on a clear path forward to conclude this chapter and significant contribution to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Telegraph, AstraZeneca admitted for the first time in court documents that its COVID vaccine can cause rare side effects such as blood clots and low blood platelet counts. The admission came through via a UK class action lawsuit that sought $125 million for almost 50 victims of AstraZeneca vaccine side effects. The European Medicines Agency listed Guillain-Barré syndrome as a very rare side effect of Vaxzevria in 2021 and added a warning in the product information. The firm's application to withdraw the vaccine was made on March 5th and came into effect May 7th. Many countries had already stopped supplying the vaccine before Tuesday's announcement. It has not been available for use in Australia since March 2023, though its use was already being phased out from June 2021 due to widespread availability of newer vaccines, according to The Guardian. London-listed AstraZeneca began moving into respiratory, what is this, Syncytial? I don't know how to pronounce it. Syncytial virus vaccines and obesity drugs through several deals last year after slowdown in growth as COVID-19 medicines sales declined. As always, I'll give you my thoughts on the vaccine stuff because there are people who are now commenting on my post being like, still think it's safe and effective, Tim? I got to be honest. Look, talk to your doctor about what makes sense for you. Like you're not going to get any good medical advice from me on medicines or drugs or anything like that, especially when it comes to the vaccines. And there are people who are like, Tim's only saying that because of YouTube censorship. No, I'm saying it from legal liability standpoint. I also don't give financial advice. But I will give you the math, as I often do. You give 10 million vaccines, and if the side effects are 1 in even 500,000, we're talking about 20 serious cases. Now imagine you then give everyone an additional dose. You're now looking at increased risk, 40 cases. Let's say you gave people 3 or 4, which is what they were doing. You're now increasing what is an extremely rare side effect, shoving it out into the mainstream, and you're going to get those stories, and it's going to freak people out. Now, again, not a doctor. Can't tell you what to do with your lives or anything like that. But what I will say is, seeing all of the people act like AstraZeneca is pulling this because of a rare side effect, I think, nah. They're being sued, I get it. But they, as I stated earlier, they didn't pursue this in the United States despite having legal, they had protection from liability. You've got people, they're apparently, it's so broad, the legal protections these companies received, that if you get fired from your job or something, you couldn't even sue over it because it falls into that. I don't know if that's actually the case. I'll tell you what the real problem was. And I think it's important not to let people deflect. The problem is government mandate, forcing people to take drugs. I don't care if it's a COVID vaccine. I don't care if it's the cure for cancer. Forcing people to take a drug is wrong, period. And so what happens? Donald Trump speeds through the Operation Warp Speed, and he's getting attacked for it. I'm sorry, guys. There's going to be a lot of people who refuse to accept it, but that's wrong. Trump is not at fault for funding medicine research. I do not fault him for that. In fact, I applaud him for it. He was right. The problem is the mandates. And people say, yeah, but it was only because he funded it that we got the mandates. I'm not. Someone comes to me and says, I want to provide funding to fix broken legs. And then all of a sudden, someone comes out and mandates everyone wear casts on their legs, whether it's broken or not. I'm like, the fixing the broken legs was a good thing. Having someone force a medical treatment was the bad thing. And that's the issue that people are confusing and then blaming Donald Trump. I don't know, what you want to talk to your doctor about your drugs and all that stuff. I'm just saying, we got too many stories of people who were medically unable to get this vaccine who were excised from society, and that's disgusting. There were people who were with disabilities who could not go out and live their lives because their doctors wouldn't let them get the vaccine. That is wrong. Government mandates and vaccine passes, and people have forgotten what happened. And then also blaming Trump. Trump can brag all day and night about his vaccine and what he got for people. I really don't care about that. Because if Donald Trump funds the creation of a vaccine and I have my choice, I can simply say, I don't care. Wow, it's crazy that something happened. If it happens, whatever. But the idea that the government would come to you and force you to do it, now we got a problem. And it's not the research. I'll also say government guaranteed contracts for this stuff is also bad. The government funding it all. It's just like, let companies be companies. If Trump I don't mean Trump funding it. What I'm saying is the purchasing of it. When they all said, like, you have a guaranteed purchase contract, putting money into research, good thing. Government mandating it and then taking our taxpayer dollars to buy a bunch of it, wrong. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on the channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.